Hello and welcome to Stillness and Success. I'm your host, Mustafa Nuristani. And today it gives me such great joy to have an incredibly dedicated human being, dedicated to bringing peace to the world, dedicated to allowing everyone in the world to live in harmony and happiness. And we'll understand how this person envisions this whole reality of life to be lived by everyone in a moment. So, and you know, some of the other beautiful things about my guests today is that they are, or they have been a very successful investment manager, and they have lived a full life of happiness and success. And we're looking forward to getting some tips from them as well. So it's my great joy to invite Dr. Harris Kaplan to the program. Hi.
Hi. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. And so now, one of the things that's really fascinating about what you have been doing for the last number of years is that you've dedicated your time in creating a kind of like a coherence group. And this coherence group is, and we'll go into how the science works and how the whole thing manifests, was something that Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the founder of Transcendental Meditation, said we needed to create more peace and harmony in the world. So tell us, how did that come about?
I think there's two sides to it. The first side is that anybody who practices Transcendental Meditation experiences what your podcast is about, which is that power of silence, the power of creating peace in themselves, creating intelligence and success in themselves through the value of absolute stillness, which is the most delicious experience that there is in life. And so because I learned TM when I was relatively young, and I've been practicing it for more than 50 years, I felt tremendous appreciation that somehow some guy like me from Montreal, Canada, could have this gift of this, I would say, greatest treasury that there is to have. So what great fortune I had. And so while I had a business, because I had to take care of my family, even though I became a teacher of Maharishi's Transcendental Meditation, I still felt at some point, if I had created enough self-sufficiency, that I wanted to go back and work in this and offer this. I think everybody feels that way when you get some great gift. You want to offer something back for yourself.
Yes.
For yourself. It's your joy for yourself. And so I was invited to spend some time with Maharishi, and at some point he asked me kind of what my interests were. And I explained to him that he had invited me to go to India and see this large group of Vedic Pandits, which to me had always been an abstraction before that. Vedic Pandits sounded charming. The word sounded interesting.
Yeah, what does it mean? Maybe people don't know what that means.
Yeah, I didn't know what it meant.
Yes.
I heard that they did this yoga, they did this meditation, like I did.
Yes.
And they had also a special meditation program, it was called, but it's basically the same thing. And then they also do these program called Yagyas, these Vedic rituals, if you like, Vedic performances or Vedic recitations. Well, I mean, what was this? Recitations, I like music, probably like you, like everybody. Yes. I grew up playing music and so on. But this was a level of the power of sound when I heard it in the large group, unlike anything I'd heard before. And I went, oh my gosh, look at the power of this. And so when I understood that those two things together, the value of transcending in groups, yoga means union, just meditation if you like, and then yagya, these Vedic performances, I really thought, well, this would be something fantastic to spend time on. But I never thought I would be involved in any administrative role in that. It came as a shock to me when Maharishi asked me if I'd like to take on that role. And I said, Maharishi, I don't think I'm the right person for that role. I mean, I don't have the background in India, and I'm no Sanskrit scholar, and it's so far away. But he said, no, you'll have that role, and if you'd like. And so I thought, very deeply honored. And also I knew at that time that there was this tremendous leadership that Maharishi had cultured in India, who really day to day was going to organize it. So I could somewhat relax and not completely panic over that level of responsibility. So that's a long answer to a short question.
No, it's a beautiful answer. And I always find that whatever we're meant to do, we somehow fall into it. And when we fall into that, and even if we feel like, you know what, this is not, it's too much or whatever, and then nature somehow just keeps on pushing us. Yes.
It can be. There's a Vedic expression that he who is awake,
yes,
and that value of natural law seeks them out. But the critical thing is to be awake.
Yes.
Because if you're not awake, nature is always, this whole fantastic life that we live, this fantastic power of evolution, which is always there. It's always trying to move us forward. Just like a mother is always looking out for the child, but sometimes the child's naughty and doesn't listen. So it's not that the mother wasn't there. It's that the awareness has to be there. The receptivity has to be there. And in that sense, it's that grace that comes from the experience of transcending that puts one in touch with, again, like the name of your podcast, with that sweetest stillness. And then connecting to that, then naturally one wants to be in tune with that nature because it feels better. It's more wonderful. And the more one connects with that force of natural law, the happier one is. It's not like, oh, I have to do something. It's the great joy and fulfillment that comes from doing that.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, Dr. Harris Kaplan. What I wanted to hear from you as well is your experience of Transcendental Meditation. When you heard about it, what was that? And how did you hear about it? And then why did you decide to learn?
Yeah, I didn't want to learn Transcendental Meditation at all. I wanted to just meditate myself.
Okay.
And I had been, I'd had an experience when I was young. I'd had an experience of trying to meditate myself. And I had some beautiful experiences of the transcendent. And I thought, this is great. And I had come back from traveling around the world after graduating university. And I went to see some friends, and they said, we'll talk to you, but just stay outside the room because we're meditating. Here I had come back from a year around the world, and they didn't want to see me. And I thought, this must be the worst thing in the world. Who would want it? Like, how rude could you be? But what I noticed with these old friends was that they had become happier. They had become clearer.
Nice.
One of my friends, very, very unfortunately, started regularly beating me at chess.
Oh,
which was a disaster. I mean, here I used to be able to have the joy of just, oh, you did well this time. All of a sudden. So they kept saying, you should try this, you should try this. And so after some time, and then they said, look, just do it.
yes.
They told me, I was in Montreal, they said, go to the TM Center. And there at the TM Center, I met this remarkable TM teacher. She seemed so blissful and so absolutely an example of what this was talked about. And so I ended up marrying her.
Oh, wow.
52 years ago.
That's beautiful. So your TM teacher is your wife.
My TM teacher is my wife, right. But the thing is, the question you asked was the experience of meditation. It's not that the benefit doesn't come from the meditation, so to say. The benefit comes from what's already there, creating the awareness of that, the openness to that.
Beautiful.
Natural law is always there. It's not because one practices TM. It's just that the access to that, the technology of that is so critical. I mean, Maharishi had always given, there's a beautiful analogy of the water is there, the ocean is there, and the field is there. But if there's not a way to connect a pipeline, to connect from, say, a canal, like the Narmada Canal, to connect to the fields along the Narmada, then those fields suffer during droughts. And so TM is that incredible technology. It's a technology of consciousness that systematically allows us to have what intermittently or luckily or whatever one might have otherwise, but in a systematic way And then over time, and that's really the great thing,
Yes.
Mustafa, is that over time, one didn't know what that huge possibility could be. One really doesn't know without the experience what it means to say the transcendent. What does it mean? It's an abstraction, the transcendent. It sounds great.
Yes.
What does it mean to say, I've opened myself up to the unified field of all the laws of nature, a physics term? But when one has the experience, which happens over time and by giving respectful time to one's meditation, one goes, oh, now I understand what all these saints talked about. Now I understand in this beautiful Vedic literature what Upanishads talked about.
Beautiful.
All these different traditions have at their source
Yes.
this power of peace through stillness, power through silence, the unbounded transcendent as an experience. And so that's why I kept meditating. Why not?
Yes. And you said something really beautiful. You said that those who are awake, the laws of nature, seek
Right.
them out. And it's really important to be awake. And what this experience of transcendental meditation does is that it awakens the individual to their inner reality. And everything is within, and you hear it in poetries and in these beautiful affirmations. Everything is, like seek thy kingdom within and like that. And then you don't know where that is.
Right.
And then people think, oh, where is the within? But then it's just like you said, this beautiful technique. It's just like when you know where the light switch is.
Yeah.
You just flick it on.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that when I first became a TM teacher, I thought I could just explain this to people and everyone would say, oh, this is fantastic, I should do it. And some people were interested. Some people weren't. I had a member of my family, my sister, she was having some health issue and she started to meditate. And immediately the health issue went away and then she stopped meditating.
Oh.
And I said, like, why would you stop meditating? She said, well, I got the benefit. And you go, well, no, but wait, if it could do that, imagine what it could do.
Yes.
But the thing is that at this time, at this point in my life, after all these years, it's nice to, when people are interested, it's a great thing to be able to tell them. There are some people who are really great at shouting things from the rooftop. I personally feel I'd like to whisper it from one's own experience. And what I hope to do is, by creating these group of Vedic Pandits, by creating these groups, by working with the others to create these groups, I hope that that influence, that power of natural law will become more throughout society. And then in a natural way, people will pick this up for their own welfare. How do you create an effect in society? How do you do that? We can see right now with what's going on in the world that there are forces which are more towards entropy, and there are forces more towards progress. Having a big campaign and screaming peace, peace, peace has never worked throughout time. What has worked, what's been proven to work scientifically, as you mentioned at the beginning that you were going to reference that later or maybe in another one of your podcasts, is this...
this podcast now.
Oh, okay.
This is good.
Well, I'll let you do that. That'll be great.
No, please tell us about the research about how the collective gatherings of these groups can influence the collective consciousness.
I think the main point is that there was real assemblies of large numbers of people. And then at that time, especially there was a major group in India in the late 1980s. And at that time, it was predicted what would happen in the world. And exactly that happened. The collapse of the Berlin Wall, the whole change of the way that European and Asian societies interacted. So an enormous, enormous difference. I actually would say that in addition to that, the large groups that we have in India have been an enormous force of positivity for why India has moved ahead so powerfully. I mean, look at India now compared to 25, 30 years ago. Why is that? It didn't have to be. If you look at certain other countries, especially 1.4 billion people, that's a lot of people.
Yes.
Imagine trying to have that society move forward in a progressive, orderly way. It's fantastic. I think in this particular shorter podcast, there wouldn't be time to go through all the research and the literature. But if someone was really serious If someone said, I really, really would like to, okay, maybe create peace for myself, but I'd really like to do it for the world, then take the time to look at the research.
Yes.
And then it's self-verifying, just like the technique itself is a self-verification technique.
Beautiful.
You don't have to be convinced. It's not that kind of a thing.
And you don't have to believe in it.
No, just like I don't believe in coffee ice cream. It tastes delicious.
Good.
Yeah.
Now I know what kind of ice cream to get you.
Yes. Next podcast.
We will have some ready outside for the next podcast. But it is good to just for a couple of minutes go into one of those research studies and give a little bit of an understanding of the group that was in India and what the group did and what kind of influence that created, which later led into this, the hypotheses of the predictions that were made to be a reality.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you take the time to look at that specific research, you'll see that Maharishi assembled a large group of Pandits, actually, Vedic Pandits in India, and they came to an area outside of Delhi. And every day they would do in large groups this yoga and yagya that we talked about before. They transcended. They created that experience of peace in themselves. Now, when you sit with a group of people meditating in a group, you absolutely feel what that effect is. One way to understand it, I think, might be for people who maybe haven't had that. If you go to a concert hall sometime and say it's a concert of, let's say it's a second movement of a Beethoven, for example, Emperor Concerto, and it's absolutely sweet and soft. If you look around at the faces at that time, the collective feeling generated by that is more than if you just go and listen by yourself sometime. Yes. There's something about when brain's consciousness has some overall experience, there's an effect of that. That can be an effect of peace. On the other hand, if you ever go to a cricket game, if you're in India, a cricket match, or a soccer game, or a football game, or a fantastic tennis match, it's a completely different experience. Yeah. If you feel that kind of energy in the crowd and that dynamism, it's a different kind of effect. When people in a group sit down and close their eyes and all meditate together, what happens is there's a sweetness which flows. It's that value of that naturally common aspect of life, which is consciousness. Everybody has consciousness. Everybody has within them that pure consciousness. And touching that, and touching that, and touching that over and over again, what happens is that effect radiates, it flows out. Now, that's one value. That's the yoga value. In addition, the sounds of the Veda, the sounds that the Pandits recite, these recitations of these Vedic Yagyas, are those primordial sounds of nature. They're the sounds, if you like, of natural law itself, the reverberations, the murmurings, if you like, of natural law, of that force of evolution as it goes from that field of pure silence and begins to become active. Connecting to those sounds, connecting to that is connecting to that most powerful force of evolution. So when the Pandits recite those sounds, it enlivens in ourselves and in society generally, if the number of Pandits is large enough, it enlivens that quality. Because that's the most primordial, the most basic, the most fundamental power of nature, that can have a tremendous effect in the exact same way that splitting an atom is more powerful than breaking a cookie in half.
Yes.
So
beautiful. That's a beautiful description. And we needed that description from you because you are the person administering this whole group. So it's good to hear it from the person.
I'm the person who's trying to help administer. That's what
Always very kind and very gentle, very humble. It's so nice to have you. We don't have any more time, but it'd be so good if we could catch up again and we can go deeper into other areas of the organization that you look after. You are very busy. Thank you so much for making the time to be with us. And thank you for sharing your beautiful stories.
Yeah, thank you. It's a delight to be with you. All good, thanks.
And thank you for your company this week. We look forward to your company again next week. Until then, have a great time. Take care.